Hey there. 3 admin notes. During the course of my interview with the guys from Jon Snow, I mentioned the DJ that played them on Y Rock, and I did not at that point in time know that it was Sat Bisla who managed their label. Had I known that, I would have brought it up. Kind of fun to know, but doesn't impact the interview. Just thought I'd mention it anyway. Second, when you watch the interview, top left is Martin, Jon Snow's bass player. Bottom left is Ole, Jon Snow's guitar player, and bottom right is Krister, Jon Snow's drummer. Oh, top right is yours truly. Third and final admin note, I'm not going to get a chance to do this during the course of the interview, so if you appreciate this interview, please like and subscribe. And if you really appreciate the interview, or if you have questions, thoughts about the interview, I'd really appreciate it if you share them in the comments below. With that being said, I really hope you enjoy this interview. I had a great time talking with these guys.
It's great. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy for me as well. It's crazy. A lot of people.
Yeah, awesome. Wow. I mean, I can't believe it. Have you been a part of the search for a long time? Or?
Yeah, I joined the search at the beginning of it. I've been into Lostwave for like about maybe a year. And so I joined this at the beginning because this person that posted this song on What's That Song, which is this website where this song got started, this whole search got started. Like they posted one comment, and it was that they heard it on this Philadelphia radio station. And I was like, okay, this can't be that hard. I'm just going to contact, the station manager at the time and the music director at the time. And I was able, to find both of them very quickly. And they were both able to be like, not only did they both say, hey, we don't know this, but one of them actually said like, hey, this is a mystery that's been going around the station for a while now.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah. And I wound up, so it's crazy for so many reasons. Not put into words.
No, we have been like a bit shocked the past days, and it's crazy just how many YouTube videos turning up, and it is crazy as well to think of that. Like 10-year younger us or 12-year younger us would be so happy right now, or we're happy.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy for us to just like realize how everything worked for us back then, and how thing is today, and
and that's actually a good place to start, because I'd love to sort of know a little bit more about how you guys got your start as a band, and how that came into you guys came into being.
It's crazy because we all kind of a lot of bands have that start when you just get in a room and you start working on songs, you cover songs, and then you're like, oh, we might write some own tunes, and then we did that for a while. We just had fun, and then we kind of got some interest from the music industry, not in Norway actually. It was in Northern Ireland. That was kind of where our vibe was being picked up, right? So one thing led to another, and we moved to Northern Ireland, and that's when we kind of started working on recording music.
And that
was crazy.
I remember we were like because Krister, you're the oldest, right?
I'm the oldest, yes.
Yeah, and I think the youngest at that point when we moved was like 16-year-old or something. Vetle.
16 years, yeah.
And
the hell.
And we got there, and we had this little room back in our hometown in Skien, Norway. And when we got down to Belfast and Northern Ireland, we got like a villa with like a gate when you drove into it, and so we lived together, and I think that was like the first time I had alcohol in my whole life.
Absurd.
And
we were 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
We had been a band for
4 years, 4 or 5 years back home. I think we started playing Ish together back in 2008 and just did it for fun. Suddenly ended up in Northern Ireland in a gated community with the management and people wanting to record and listen to the music. Even though it wasn't that many, I mean, we never were big at all. Yeah, but suddenly it all started when we, as Ole Henrik said, we were in Ireland recording, living in the gated community, having fun.
You know, and you know, we met we got together with this legend producer, Trey Shepard. He had a recording studio called 0 Hour Recording Studio. We're 0 Hour Studios.
Yeah.
And we worked on an EP first, which you know, since all of this kind of has happened, we kind of like, oh, we might re-release that one as well. This is back when we actually printed CDs, you know?
Yeah.
So we have like, I think every one of us have like printed copies of that. But yeah, anyways, I was saying, so he kind of took our sound to the next level and is a big part of what, you know, the Brighter Days or Back to Bed song is about.
Days.
You know,
I've gotten accustomed to call it Brighter Days already.
Yeah, no, we love that it's called, you know, we put it in the song when we uploaded it to Spotify. Like it's Back to Bed is definitely part of it now for sure.
It's it's like there was another search for a song that everyone called How Long Will It Take? And you know, we found it and it turned out the song was just called How Long, but the person re-released it and put how long and then parentheses will it take?
That's great.
So, the same thing we did.
Yeah. Well, and like the search that I was involved in before this was a search for a guy who was looking through old baby videos, and he found a 3-second recording of a music video that someone had recorded over his videos of him as a baby, and he's like, I don't know who this is, and I only have 3 seconds of it. And so that was like a huge deal for months before it was actually solved by a member of a band in Canada. This was posted on at that point in time Twitter, and this person was like, oh, actually these guys used to open for us.
What?
No way.
And,
no way.
There was the Canadian band Sloan, and I think it was the guitarist of this band Sloan, which is like, you know, fairly, you know, recognizable 90s era Canadian band. It was like, oh, it's this band Big Picture. And, you know, the guy that's the guitarist was this mystery guitarist that you know, the only 3 seconds of this music video we had was this guy playing guitar.
Yeah.
We finally found him. And so, you know, when he found out, you know, he re-released it, and he even called it World Was So Easy, even though the name of the song was Just Passing By. No,
yeah, right. That's crazy. Yeah,
you know, it's not unheard of for artists to kind of, you know, pick up on the Lostwave attention. And I mean, I don't know how it feels for you guys. You know, that's one of the I'm kind of skipping ahead of my interview, but but you know, I kind of curious, you know, how you feel, you know, suddenly getting this attention years after this, you know, after Jon Snow was a thing.
Yeah, I think like this hunting and finding of this this song kind of gives us kind of a bit new meaning of what we did back then. And
oh, for sure.
And I think like the reason for all the material being gone from the internet and so hard to find is because that was a door we had to close in a way. We used all our money, so like typically young people, some of us had pretty hard feelings on splitting up this band. Our parents were very into it and also sponsored a lot of things, and it was kind of a dream being like broke up at that age. And
for sure.
Just to start with me, I feel like I have walked around the past 10 years and haven't really spoke that much about that band, and but now I am, and I'm kind of prouder in another way, just because not only people have found the song, but some people says really nice stuff about like the complete song as well, and that makes my heart, and that makes me want to tell the younger version of myself, like, fuck, you did a good job. And so it makes me really proud. Yeah.
I love that.
Hey, go ahead, Christer. You have some feelings as well.
I'd love to hear from all you guys. I'm digging this.
Well, you know, I think honestly, now, you know, I work as a producer now, producing and working with artists, and like having like something you made, honestly, like 13 years ago, being recognized something as something that people have been searching for such a long time. It's it puts a new perspective on what you were really just going for back when, you know, we were 19, 20.
Yeah.
And it kind of, because we were really pushing, like, because it's interesting, you know, that song, that clip, that 30-second clip is from, I think it's from a radio station in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And we were working with a company in the States, and we were playing showcase in LA in 2011, and right,
the Viper Room or something.
I think it was called SIR Studios. Yes,
oh, it was. Okay,
but the company was called Music Expo, and they're still a big thing today. But anyways, like we were chasing that thing for so long, and like Oli was saying here, the hard feelings, like feelings are a bit more fragile, and they're they're experienced very differently from people. You know, when when some people are leaving the band, and then, you know, some people want to keep going, and it was just it was a difficult thing for us to kind of keep it floating, so we kind of ended it. But now I see, you know, people are coming to me with songs and dreams, and they're working so hard, and I can like, and they have a lot of people have a short time, like they want stuff to happen very fast, and I'm like, and now more than ever I'm like, you know, it might take time. It's like the songs you're creating now might not be for this time. It might be for 10 years ahead. You don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, but it's funny, like, because we believed so much in these songs back then. And I love the fact that what we believed in wasn't for nothing. That's what I love the most.
Yeah. That's a really great way to put it. And I think that's like, you know, like kind of, you know, what's again interesting about when we solve these songs is a lot of the time it's these songs that, you know, a lot of people you know, ask themselves like, why was this not bigger? Why was this song, you know, not a hit? Because like, you know, like, you know, I'm just in all honesty, like this is probably, you know, my favorite of the songs I've solved, just in terms of listening to it outside of the song. I'm like, okay, this is actually a really good song. And I think, you know, there are a number of people in you know, they're just kind of like, wow, you know, how did this song not make it? You know, and it's kind of this interesting thing to, you know, it's always easy to look back and be like, you know, like, and sort of like be like, oh yeah, what, you know, why wasn't it? But like, I'm very curious if you guys have any sense of like, you know, if you feel like you could have done anything differently, or if you're happy with the way things went down.
I mean, just another comment about the song surfacing now, though, but also for the whole doing things differently. But I think the lyrics are even better now than 10 years ago. And I mean, this was pre social media blowing up. It was kind of at the start of Instagram and everything. Snapchat didn't exist. TikTok didn't exist.
Yep.
When we wrote it about like people don't wanting to end up like all the rest of the people going to work early in the morning just as a robot, as a machine, having no meaning with life. trying to find that sunshine, right? That's the line in the bridge there.
Yeah.
It is all about that tiny glimmer of hope that you have to cling on to. And I feel that is more relevant today than it was 10 years ago, with
100%.
what's happening in the world,
Yeah.
all the craziness. We need some hope,
Yeah.
to hang on to. But I mean, from doing stuff different, we tried as hard as we could. I mean, being 18, 19, new to the music industry, not knowing when we got fooled, not knowing when people tried to use us. I feel we had quite a good run though. We were lucky. We weren't like screwed totally. So it was just that. It was just like one of the other questions that you had in your guide there.
Yeah.
What's the problem with the music industry? And
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone
the
is
internet
trying to
works.
make money.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just shooting you, Martin. I'm sorry, but this is such a good point, though. Like, everyone is trying to make money. And that's a really big problem for an artist who's basically not making any money,
right,
except from playing live. And but then people are trying to get money from that as well. So they're making this beautiful art, these songs, and have to pay a lot of people to just get it out. You have to pay for the recording, the producing, mixing, and mastering, and the art, the cover art, and the music video, and then the label wants 20 or 30% of just to put it out, just to cover costs and expenses, and then that might not go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the really the really dark side of, I think, the recording industry or in the music business industry at all. Like, it's there's such a long time from you start out to when you're actually making money and can actually like safely say this is a career that I can pursue for a long time.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, it's just a dream that you're chasing with everything you have. You're putting everything on the line, and you can't really half-ass it in any way. Like, it's either you're doing it or you're not doing it, because half-assing it will not get you anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, I know, I'm very tangentially hooked into the music industry. But I know enough about like the streaming services like Spotify and then YouTube Music and Pandora to know that artists are getting like 0.001 cent per
zeros,
1,000 streams or something. And so I think it's probably fairly common amongst bands to have those monetary struggles. I mean, I know like another song that we saw recently was another Canadian band, that had we actually had the demo version of their song, and the real version was released 4 years later. And so when we first got the album, we're like, well, this title makes sense, but this song, we know it was recorded by this prolific recorder of radio in 1992 or 93, and this is a 96 release, so this can't be the right song. And it was. We just had listened to the demo version. The demo version had played on 3 or 4 years before it had been released on CD. And I actually got in touch with one of the two guys that was in that band, and he's now an attorney. And I'm like, and I'm sort of like, like, what happened? And it's kind of a very similar story to you guys. Is that they just ran out of money. They were these two brothers, and and they just kind of had some bad luck and sort of had to decide to move on. And I think that's sort of like probably not that's probably fairly commonplace in the industry.
I remember one thing that we did was that we made duct tape wallets. Do you remember that, guys?
Yeah, that merch.
We sold it for like, I think it was like 5 or 10 quid.
Yeah. But I think what we had,
I mean, we tried. Yeah, we tried really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we can say like that, you know, we put everything that we had into making this band work.
Yeah.
Oh, I
but I
believe
mean,
it.
we did end it on a high note.
Yeah.
Though, because the last thing we did, the last
Yes.
gig we played was a festival
Okay.
in Northern Ireland, and
Yeah.
it was 10,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
10,000 in the audience. Yeah. So I mean, we it was such a shame that it broke up when it did, and that we ran out of money when we did. But I mean, sitting here 12, 13 years afterwards, finding the song online, people loving it.
Yeah.
My heart is warm. I think it's awesome.
I think like
100%.
even though if the majority of the people said like, oh man, this song really sucks, I would be happy. Like, got
no, I mean, you know, it's, you know, there's a, you know, one or two songs in the Lostwave universe that people are like, is this song a good song? Is this song a song we want to find? But this song is definitely not one of them. I mean, I think, you know, again, I know I kind of mentioned this earlier, but a lot of people, you know, were sort of just saying like, how could this song get lost? You know, it's too good to have faded into obscurity. So it's
I think a reason why it was lost though is that we never released it.
Okay. I'm curious about
it. It was never released because we went to play that music. We went to play Music Expo in LA in the spring of 2011. And to Music Expo, we brought this. We had the EP with the 4 songs on, and we had like this demo of Brighter Days. And I had forgotten about that until I saw in the Reddit that someone had bought that Brighter Days demo on eBay.
What?
Because it's it's a plain
no,
white
I saw that
CD.
too. Somebody snapped it up before I was like, oh, I'm gonna.
That's crazy.
It's a plain white CD that A&R Worldwide they burnt CDs and gave it out because Brighter Days was what we traveled to LA with as like the next big single after Supersonic, and so Brighter Days got some radio spins after Music Expo because that's when we kind of ran out of money with A&R Worldwide. So I guess it was played. And I saw that in Reddit as well. It was played like 7 or 8 times during the
I was playing. I think about
that summer,
right? And I know, and I'm forgetting now, but it was actually played by a DJ that played international music. Or like, you know, like her focus was music that wasn't produced or like wasn't the artists weren't from the United States. And you know, and I'm just hazarding a guess here that, you know, she must have probably been at that expo or somehow wound up with the copy of that demo CD from the A&R folks and thought they liked it enough to play it on her radio show. Because I also learned, you know, one mystery that I think, you know, was a question which was, you know, that I asked, like, you know, I made this, you know, 18-minute or 15-minute long, you know, YouTube video about like, you know, I asked like, you know, well over 13 people at WXPN who you know, had this program Y Rock. It was on their radio station, and then it actually turned into an internet radio station. It turned into an internet radio station in the 1 year period that this, you know, we were looking at. It was both an internet radio station and a terrestrial radio station. And so we were just like, but like, you know, I kept asking myself, okay, like, why does nobody at this radio station know? And it turns out that the program that this DJ was on was a licensed program. So they ran it in the morning as like they had basically, you know, didn't have enough DJs to fill all the 24 hours in their time. And they had, you know, this DJ was on a few radio stations all at once. You know, they had produced this program and they just sold it to whatever radio stations wanted it. And so
that's crazy.
That's why they weren't able to ID this, was because they weren't technically the ones that had played it.
Of course. So, but it's so interesting. But also, I think it was found on my personal Vimeo service because I had I've been having that video out there, not thinking about it for 10 years, and last Sunday I woke up as I wrote on the Reddit. I woke up and my email was just blown up with comments on this video, and I was like, "What is going on?" Trying to go into the accounts and stuff, and they were all created that day. So I was like, "What kind of Russian troll factory is this? What are they doing now?" And then middle of the day, Vetle, the guitarist, called me, and he was like, "Have you heard about this search for Brighter Days?" And I mean, the last week has been crazy. It has been totally crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what's great is like it's kind of brought the band back together in a way, which is so much fun.
No, I mean, I think that's kind of common amongst a lot of these searches. I mean, you guys, a few of you guys are in the Discord, and a lot of the times, these artists will wind up in Discord, and it's kind of commonplace for these songs getting found for these artists to be like, okay, so this wasn't all for nothing, and to bring these groups of people back together. These two guys from this Canadian band that I mentioned earlier that did this song that we had 3 seconds of, like, they hadn't talked to each other in a decade, and they got back together and played an acoustic version of the song live on stream. And I mean, it's cool. Kind of like, it's just trippy to see like what the sort of the unification that the Lostwave can bring to songs across the spectrum, which is great too. Everything from 2000s and 2010 era rock to like songs from like the 70s and 80s, like new wave, and we identified like some country rock, I mean, there's the wide array of songs that are just like, if I were to put them all in a playlist, you'd be like, there is no common thread connecting these, and I'd have to explain what it was.
No, that's funny.
It's crazy to dig into the servers there and just read the threads, and both our own and the other ones as well.
Oh yeah,
people are really dedicated and digging into a lot of details that are just insane.
Well, one of my favorites.
I was blown. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was blown away, but by the Dutch lead that you had.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up. Yeah. So I think that whereas there was like some argument, and I was like, okay, I'm Danish in heritage, which is somewhat close to that area. I mean, it's not Dutch, but it's Dutch adjacent. And I was like, I spent some time over in Europe, and I was like, this sounds like a Dutch accent to me. And I was like, but there were some people that's like, oh, it's just somebody that's. And we were like, well, maybe it's a Dutch person that immigrated to the United States. It's like all these theories, and some people were like, oh, it's just a person that sounds foreign but isn't. But so I'm kind of curious, like, is it? How do you feel like having reading those comments that like we kind of were able to guess that this was a Dutch vocalist?
It's just crazy. And I mean, like besides that, we did put a lot of work into the lead singer's job to make him sound not Norwegian.
100%.
So actually, when we moved over to Ireland, we talked like English or American with an accent all the time, just to try to have like a neutral English speaking in a way. But I mean, like, digging into it and see all that like really specific. I also saw like I was scrolling like so long up in there, and then I found like someone who had like loaded the like the clip itself, like the 31 seconds you had, into some kind of a program. And analyzed it, and like, okay, so it should be recorded back then, and that really matches up. It's some like things here. It is a recording from probably a phone in mono off a radio, so there is some factor there. And I'm like, shit, how is that even possible to like find that many like small bits and pieces out of just those seconds in a way? But I think like all for us, it's like, as we have talked a bit about, we I don't necessarily think we only ran out of money, but we also ran out of energy. We did put our whole lives into it, and we moved from, we moved away from our girlfriends when we were 17 years old.
Yeah.
And
they were left behind.
yeah, they were left behind, and we had to like stop like our education. Everything was like set on pause in a way, and I remember that time, as you mentioned, Christer or Martin, I don't remember, like the last festival, the 10,000 people festival. I remember us going there, and we were tired, and we were excited, and this was like at a beautiful beach, and it was one of the biggest stages that we ever kind of played on, and and I mean, it was a dream. We used to watch, like, you know, Arctic Monkeys and the Vaccines and the Cooks, and we were like all upon YouTube that time, and we did everything we did, and we made like behind the scenes videos for everything we did, like in the studio and traveling on tour, and we got a really nice chance to support other bigger bands on tours as well. So we made a lot of content, and but I mean, looking back at that material, it's I think we were so tired at that point where we did split up, and we sent, so like our pockets were empty for money. We sold stuff, and we called. I remember we were like sending emails to rich people back in Norway, like, hey, we gave them links to like kind of major things that we had achieved. And we were like, do you want to be a part of this journey? This is what we can give you like in return. It's not like it's a fee, and and maybe like but it's, I think we were so tired, like, and it was like, speaking about like what we could do different. It's like, it's so strange to think back now, like we put so much hard work into the real world, traveling around, and we didn't have like the same possibility to put hard work into the digital world, and it's and that's kind of what the song is about as well, like, like
also, I mean, it's almost ironic that that's kind of, you know, the song reflects perfectly on why it didn't become bigger, is, you know, is because like, you know, like we're like, the world is so like, I'm gonna go on social media and I'm gonna, you know, like, you know, like, you know, I have to tell myself to you know, limit the amount of time I spend on Facebook and on Reddit and even on Discord. You know, as much as I love talking about Lostwave, I'm like, okay, I have to you know, have a life outside of this. I have a day job. I have a family. And it's hard, you know, so it's hard for me to be like, you know, like I need time to step away from this.
100%.
And I know you guys, you know, mentioned, you know, the behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, you know, looking at, you know, the photos from the video that you made for Brighter Days, and I was, you know, and I was, you know, the video, you know, the fact that the video is even a thing is crazy, because, you know, there have been a few solves recently where like, right, you guys, you know, this song and like another song that just got solved both had music videos. And we're just like, this is some sort of weird trend of like, you know, like, not only were these songs out there, but these music videos were out there too. And we, you know, but I'm sort of curious in terms of how the music video came into being, and like, you know, like sort of like, because it's such a fun music video, and I'm kind of curious, you know, who was thinking, okay, let's put a person in a bear suit, or a panda suit.
No, how's the
I mean,
story?
I think. What do you remember it, Ole?
No, but I remember we had like, I actually you know, at that point the music video is recorded in our hometown, and
Norway.
In Norway, yeah, and at that point we didn't live in Norway, so I think, like, you know, there is actually some friends of us which are doing big and great now, who made the music video for us and produced that. But I think like that was their first video ever or something, and but the panda is like a mystic like animal for me in the music.
I think the panda. I
Yeah.
think the panda was supposed to be that one person that feels different internally.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like it's like a picture of not fitting in, but not being seen,
Yeah. And I think
or
that's
something.
and I think that that's like, it's really interesting you mentioned about, because another thing, you know, like I was also scrolling back, you know, at looking through what people had said about this song in preparation, and like a lot of people were like, you know, like, okay, this song is, you know, some talking about people that are different, you know, and I think, you know, the topic of, you know, maybe it's about neurodivergence had come up, which is fairly common in the Lostwave space. In fact, I'm neurodivergent, so but it's kind of just interesting that, you know, that we picked up on a slightly different message, but it was still the same message, which is that, you know, there are these people that are out there that feel different, that still have to go through life.
Yeah, for sure.
What you were going for, right? I want to make sure I'm not like interpreting this.
No, but I think like of all the songs that we kind of wrote, looking back at it, I think the Brighter Days is like we talked about it earlier actually today, like how all our songs sounds a bit happy and upbeat, but all the lyrics was not that way. And I remember we used a lot of time on thinking about like what the song should be about, and I think we also worked a lot. Actually, we have another music video as well, and that one is also great. But I don't think it's online.
What's that music video for?
Supersonic is online.
That's for Supersonic
is online.
Okay.
Oh, it is online.
Okay.
But I think we did put a lot of work into aesthetic stuff like photos and video content, and you know, the wallets we made out of duct tape, like that. And I
remember we drew paintings on them.
Yeah, we did.
Remember?
Yeah.
But I mean, we had like Sharpies.
Yeah, I was thinking here, thinking about lyrics and thinking about themes. And what we wrote about. And I mean, listening to there's another song called Far Wild Isle. And that's on the EP. And it also it's like a dystopian place where we were talking about and writing about like that little glimmer of hope in a difficult world. I think we felt that I mean, trying to get into the music industry was kind of a struggle, but we didn't lose hope. So there is a lot of upbeat, happy melodies with dark lyrics. And of course, in some of the not released songs as well, there are struggles with girls and ex-girlfriends and all the stuff that 19-year-old boys thinks about, you know.
So in terms of that unreleased stuff, and is there you guys have any plans to do anything with that, or just kind
we're working on that.
I'm not pressuring you, no pressure.
It is too good to be stuck on my Google disk, though.
But it's you know, this whole thing has kind of, you know, definitely made like our perspective on all of that, and, you know, in terms of like, okay, no, we should probably definitely finish what we started in a way. Just also, you know, because we think the songs are great, but it's also in a way that, you know, to honor what we started as, you know, teenagers, basically, you know. So it's I think it's a great way to end a legacy kind of a thing.
We are going to release Supersonic in a remixed and remastered version next week. That we just found the master on yesterday, didn't we, Christopher?
We did.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So there will be we are going to try and get some more music out there. I mean we want to have the EP out on Spotify and to be available.
Yeah,
Not
I know a few
because I
people
mean
have been like asking about that. So
I mean we're never gonna get rich of this, but we
no,
can.
but,
I mean, getting it out there so that people can listen to what we used all that time to create. That makes me happy, at least. Yeah.
100%.
yeah, no, I think like I sort of said before, like a lot of these people, that where we have found these songs, they come back and they're super happy, and they also realize that this is in most cases not going to explode them back into popularity with the whole general public, but in this subset of people, we're all thriving, or it was like, yes, please.
That's awesome.
But I think we're really thankful of the work that the Lostwave community put down to make us realize this, and for all the kind words and attention. It is crazy, and it's obviously we are super excited to have released the Back to Bed on Spotify, and
yes, oh my god,
and,
yeah, I was like, yes, I was so happy to see that was happening.
I think it feels it still feels crazy, and I don't know how it feels like that we have to send a little thank you to that whole community for making us the younger version of ourselves realize that it wasn't just a waste of years and money. It was it was good. It was a well done job we did back then. Yeah.
Yeah,
love it.
And so, outside of the re-release and the EP and whatnot, what else? This is for any of you. This is like I think I said in my message, to share time. Also, be self-promotional. I'd love to kind of know what else you guys are up to, and just
which of us is starting?
Ola, you go.
Yeah, I work in the photography industry, and but in the more not only with commercial stuff, but also with art, and I work a lot with musicians as well, and the Norwegian Castle, we deliver photos for them as well, and I just still kind of work with the same thing as that was my specialty in the band. Which was videos and photos and stuff like that, and and funny thing is that I don't really play guitar that much anymore, but the weekend before everything of this happened, I was sitting in my car back from my hometown back to Oslo, where I live, and then I actually brought with me the guitars I used in the band. And so I think something in my mind was just something is gonna happen. You have to bring those guitars back.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love it.
I use most of my time now, doing photography and riding motorcycles. Yeah.
And I think what you said, what you say there, Ola, is I think we all learned so much from what we did in Jon Snow, and I mean, those formative years from 16 to 20, trying to make it in the real world without that much support. So you have to play on all the strengths and weaknesses that are in the band. And for my part, I was always trying to manage the guys, and ended up kind of as a low level assistant to the regional manager, to say.
That's awesome. What?
Yeah. Well,
that's
so
like something out of The Office.
I'm 12. I'm 12 years in the army now. I'm a captain in the army. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah, being overseas and stuff like that. So I mean, I've continued on with leadership and working with people and trying to just get the best out of people around me, moving towards a common goal. So kind of that's my job. But I still play though. I've been playing in some small kind of like party bands, and when we have had parties at work, the coolest one must have been Magic Mike and the Hot Shots, that we made a band playing. Yeah, a couple
awesome.
it was all covers, and just I've been playing the bass and just trying to have fun with music ever since. But I mean, not something serious like Krister is doing.
Okay. Yeah. So Krister,
I've been,
I think you mentioned earlier it's producing. Is that right?
Yeah, that's my main gig. Yeah, these days, working with, I do mostly rock and pop, basically. And I'm in a couple of other bands as well. I tried. We did. It's like why I ended up producing is, because I was playing, like, after Jon Snow. I think it was maybe like 3 years after that I started a new band, and we kept it going until like maybe last year or something like that. Yeah, and so we were so that's been like, we've been to LA and Nashville recording albums. I think even we recorded at Tommy Lee's studio, I think. Yeah, that's fun. No, it's been Jon Snow was the whole catalyst for all of what I've been doing, honestly.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
the same.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. And the same with the rest of the guys that aren't here today or tonight as well. I mean, they have been continuing along with the experience and all the things that we learned back in the day. Vetle is a big and popular guitar player. He's been playing all around the world with different artists, and I would say he's both Krister and Vetle are musical geniuses, and they produce fantastic music every day. So they don't have to say it themselves, but they are.
Yeah, well, and I'll plug them. I'll plug them in after this too, because I want to make sure I include everyone. I mean, like, it's being in a band is not something I've done, but I know it's a group effort. So,
absolutely.
And I know it's still kind of weird every once in a while, like, hearing the name Jon Snow and realizing that you guys picked that name before Game of Thrones became a big deal.
That's also quite fun.
Yeah, and so I was just kind
of
like, that was the question that people were asking. It was like, so how do you feel about that?
I remember it as it was yesterday, because when we were
in LA, it too.
Yeah, in LA at the showcase, someone told we had been playing, and I was like, and then someone came over and they were like, "Have you heard of this series of books called Game of Thrones?" And I was like, "No, what's that?" Well, there is a character called Jon Snow, and when was the TV show released? Must have been 2014, maybe.
Yeah, I think 2014. I'm like, okay, it was on for 6 seasons, so 2014 sounds about right.
So I mean, the books, they got really popular just when we stopped, and I mean, the reason why we chose the name Jon Snow was because we didn't want anyone to have any association to anything else than the band. So we kind of failed humongously on that
fail.
One.
I mean, sometimes the universe just decides to screw with you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's with this, even with the search, like, like I think you guys might, well, eventually probably, you might or might not know about this, like, but like the pinnacle of like the Lostwave universe is this song that's like, sometimes it's called the most mysterious song on the internet, but like it's generally called Like the Wind, and it's it's this German song from the 1980s. I mean, it's this generic rock song, but like, it's started off the whole Lostwave movement, and it's been covered in like Rolling Stone magazine, and it's this big deal. And so and I was searching for another song, and I came across a German band that had released a song called Like the Wind, and I was like, I know this is not the right song, because luckily there was a rip of this CD on YouTube, and I was able to quickly listen and be like, okay. But I'm like, the universe is screwing with me by putting a song with the right title in the right time frame while I'm looking for a completely and utterly different song. Sometimes the universe is just kind of like,
yeah.
No,
but it's been so cool.
Yeah. So I'm making sure I'm like, what am I forgetting to ask you? Is there anything else you'd like to mention, or anything that I have not asked that you would?
No, I don't know. We were talking about that before this meeting as well, and I think we were like, we're just humbled and think this whole thing it's really big for us, and
very thankful, honestly, just very thankful for all of this.
And I think what we're like mostly thankful around is like how like suddenly we're feeling a bit more proud of what we did back then, and
100%.
I can't say that enough. It just feels like a big thing to just finally kind of get some recognition for what we made back, and because we were kids, and it feels crazy.
And I mean, I think I can say the same from the entire Lostwave community. I mean, I think that, for us, it's like, like it's such a weird experience to, like, when we find these songs and we realize, the time and the effort that went into these songs, like, as good as you guys feel like being recognized, like, we feel good that we're able to, like, rediscover these bands like Jon Snow, where we're less like, that for whatever reason they didn't get the attention they deserved. Like, it's a positive feeling for us too. And I think, like, I think what it really, like, it's really just, I really think what I'm trying to say is that we really appreciate the effort that you guys put into these songs too, because
Thank you.
Obviously, we vote on these. I mean, there are hundreds of Lostwave, thousands of Lostwave songs, and on the server, you can only have so many channels, so we vote every few months to add new songs, and it's actually a big ordeal. We just did it, and there were, like, I think 100 plus songs nominated for 10 new channels. And then I think we that generally is for the sample that we have, do we like the sample, and they had a 30-second sample, and this was, I think, of the songs I've looked into, I think this is probably about the biggest, the most popular of the searches that I've been a part of. There's one other search for an AOR, or adult oriented rock track from that's probably about as big as this, but I think this is probably the biggest, and it's so weird, like, it's also my top performing video on my YouTube channel. It's my video about back then. So
crazy.
YouTube.
I mean,
says
the 30-second clip has the 30-second clip has about 90,000 views or something.
Yeah. And I think the music video is already up there in the tens of thousands probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really great to be able to recognize you guys for for this work that you probably should have been recognized for when it came out. A little bit more.
That's really nice. And but yeah, it's just a crazy situation you have put us in here. So but we're thankful. So
Oh, I mean, we're happy to have you. We're happy to continue to like listen, and I mean, it's, whatever you guys are doing, like, the community will pick up on it, and we'll put it out there, because like, I know that I think Maximilian reached out to you. I mean, there's quite a few people in the YouTube Lostwave world too, and and I mean, it's a very niche hobby, I guess is what I would call it, You know, I don't think there's a lot of us that are making money off of this, you know. So, you know, but it's sort of just like it's really great to be able to like spread good music and to like be able to you know, put out there more, you know, more permanently this music that deserves to be heard. So I'm really happy to be part of that.
That's awesome.
But it's nice,
Really?
and it is also really nice to like go back in the threads and see how like respectful the whole like the whole, what is it called, community are. With like
what they call it. So
I noticed when you had like contacted the producer, it said like it's like important that no one else get in touch with him.
Yeah,
like,
we try our best not to annoy people. You know, and we do a pretty good job. I mean, like you said, you know, you know, this is, I don't know why this is true of Lostwave. You know, maybe it's just because we're all obsessives, but you know, like a number, you know, I think if you were to look at the Lostwave community, I think probably at least a third of us are neurodivergent, you know. And so it's easy for us to all get super excited about something. I know for me, like, you know, I have ADHD, so I can bounce from topic to topic, but then I can get hyper fixated on something. And so, you know, if all of a sudden there's a lead, you know, like there are people like, oh, we haven't contacted this DJ, you know, we've learned over time that, you know, if 3 or 4 of us contact the same person, they'll be annoyed versus one contacting the person and just waiting to hear it back. So but anyhow, I'm getting off topic and I'm trying to prevent myself from talking for hours about Lostwave.
No, but good job done. It's crazy. Fun.
All right. Well, cool. I know you guys, you know, have lives to get back to, so I think I'm happy to wrap things up. But I really wanted to thank each and every one of you for doing this. It's, you know, an hour of your time that I really appreciate you guys taking.
Yeah, thank you.
It's our pleasure. 100%.
Yeah.